Hello everybody. In this screencast we're going to look at how to add database, the Firestore, which is the Firebase database, to our project. Notice that when you look here on the left, you will see that there is Cloud Firestore, and then there is the real-time database. So the real-time database is very similar to the Cloud Firestore, but the Cloud Firestore database has more querying capabilities, and that's the one we are going to use, which is the Cloud Firestore. Okay, so I'll create it, and then basically it asks you, are you in production mode or in test mode? I'll use test mode because production mode has limitations and so on, but let's say allow read and write false. Let's say test mode has a more relaxed alternative around real time and so on. Click on next, and then it says set the location, enable, and that will create a database. We can change it from test mode to production mode later if we need to. So this is how you create the database. You just create it. We'll just have to wait, and then of course we will have to add the SDK for it. So how to add the SDK while this is doing whatever it's doing? I can go here to the documentation, and if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see the Firebase Cloud, and here's the introduction, and then it will tell you about what is Firebase Cloud and so on, and then getting started. This is how you add Firebase Cloud. So basically scroll down a little bit, and we are using Java Android, and basically we'll just have to add the SDK here. So basically I copy the SDK and add the SDK. Here we go, and sync. Now this adds the SDK, right? Let's go back to this tab, and you can see that this is a dashboard that shows you the database. You see here it created a database for you. Now this is the data, right? And these are the rules. You can change the rules later. It says, for example, allow read and write if the request timestamp is less than timestamp date 1210. I can remove that. So basically what we could do is we can remove this, allow test and write. That's it. We can remove even this. We can remove it. Here it is. Allow test and write. Can I publish this? It's published. Done. So it's going to allow test and write. There is no restrictions on testing and writing and so on. So we can come back to this later, but this is the rule, and there is a lot of documentation on these rules and so on. We'll keep it as is just for testing. Okay, go back to the data. This is where your data is, and you could see that the data, the only option that you have now is that you start with a collection. So a collection is you could think of it as a list of data. Okay, so it's a list of documents or a collection of documents. That's what you call it. So you have to give the collection a name. Let's say, for example, this collection, we call it notes. Okay, and click next, and then basically that creates a note, right? So basically this collection is going to be called the note, and then under it there will be a document. So for example, I could say auto ID, and I could say, for example, the text for the note, so it goes like a note, and that could be the text, hello world, and then maybe I can add is active, and then maybe the type I could make it, for example, boolean, true, and I click on save. So what this does is that it creates a collection called notes, and then under that collection called notes there are documents. Each document has an ID, and then this is the document, and inside the document you can create collections, or you can create fields as we have seen here. So I can create another collection if I want. I call it, for example, my users. Right? I can do that. There it is, and I can create a user here, and I could say, for example, the name of the user, or maybe we can call it contacts so that people don't get confused with the actual users. Contacts, right? Click on next, auto ID, and I could say, for example, name of the contact. Let's say Bob Smith. I can add a field, maybe I can add a number or a string or whatever. So this is a string, and let's call it, for example, cell phone. Right, here it is, 111-111-1111. So that's basically, here it is. So I created the contacts. I created the contact inside it, and then that's a contact. And then inside these documents, so this is called the document, right? So basically, and this is a collection. So I have two collections now. One collection has notes. I can add another note here, for example. Here's another note, and you notice the auto ID. It's like the auto increment in databases. Auto ID generates the ID automatically. And basically, let's say here's the note, test note, and then you can add another field. For example, I could say is active, and I could pick that this is boolean, and here we go. So basically I have two nodes now, 1 and 2, and I have a contact and so on. So that's the database. It's collection. A collection is a set of documents, and then a document is a set of fields, and it can have a collection also. So basically documents can have collections also, and so on. So that's basically how you create data on Firestore. We also added now how to add it to your project. We just add it to the project by just adding the SDK. And then basically after you add it to the SDK, we will look in the next videos on how you add data and how you retrieve data. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.